Tuivasa. Boy, oh boy, is this an entertainment one. I still don't know where I want to go with this one. I am going to talk it through with the people. I'm going to offer my take. I am interested in your take. I want to start with Greg Hardy. Now, Greg Hardy, I know that his last fight, he kind of looked, like he didn't know what he was doing. He got taken down a lot. Looked a little out of his element. Even looked a little bit gassed, but I don't think that's necessarily a testament from what we have seen. So here's my angle with Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy, when he is fighting someone that's just a straight striker, he out-muscles him. Greg Hardy, I know that he got in the game a little bit late, coming from the football background, but that strength and athleticism is very apparent in the majority of his fights. He keeps people on the cage, and he holds them there, and there's literally nothing they can fucking do. Now, obviously, when he fights a wrestler, that takes a lot of his game, a lot of the wind out of his sail. I don't think he's very good at grappling. Grappling is an art. It's a learned thing. It's very difficult to kind of get a grasp on as early on, as long as Greg Hardy has been doing this. With that being said, Tuivasa, to me, isn't the guy that's going to go, you got to see Tuivasa going in there shooting double legs on Greg Hardy. Right? You know what I mean?
No, I see what you're saying. And I was thinking, when I'm looking at this fight, I don't see him doing that. I don't see a lot of things happening. I think Tai Tuivasa is a little bit overrated. He's coming out of the camp from Mark Hunt. I think a lot of people think of him as like a mini Mark Hunt, something like that. He's just not that guy.
He got some nice tattoos.
Give me the tattoos in my loins.
Yeah.
But, I like you were saying, man, Greg Hardy can take a beating. I mean, he played in the NFL. He's learning for every time he makes a fight. He doesn't give up. He still shows up. Every time I see him get beat, I think he's going to be done. But this guy keeps on showing up. He's working on these weaknesses. And sooner or later, this shit's going to click for him. And when you have an elite, world-class athlete, like he might be the top of the top tier of actual...
Like sheer athleticism.
Yeah,
we're not talking MMA IQ. There is a difference between the two.
And sooner or later, sometimes these things, when they click, they click. And when it clicks, he's going to be a monster. And I'm sure he's been back to the drawing board. He doesn't give up. It's going to take a fucking Mack truck to knock this dude out. I think Greg Hardy's going to make it happen. Now, do I think this may have the potential to be the most boring fight of the night? I do.
100%.
But it also could be the most electrifying. I'm going to take Greg Hardy here.
I think you bring up some good points. Now, listen, Tuivasa has, guy has power. I think he's pretty active. I do think that he showed some gas tank issues of late. I think he does slow down later in fights, which is a big concern for me. The other thing, too, I think it's just a bad matchup for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Greg Hardy, I know the inhaler gate and everything like that, but Greg Hardy actually doesn't show a bad gas tank. Right. He actually shows a very good ability to grind, control the octagon for 15 minutes. Maybe, not very frequently, I don't think. I'm not going to go too much on the Greg Hardy train. I think he's more of a facade than anything else. Puppet for the UFC. I do agree with you on the athleticism part. I mean, that has bought him a lot of brownie points. There's no question. I think frequently you won't see me bet with him. I'll probably find myself fading him more. But I just like this matchup for him. Okay. I really do.
Yeah.
You talk about the power. I think he's just going to have Tuivasa up against the cage. You might even see him get a little saucy and get a takedown in there and just ground and pound him, hold him on the ground for a little bit. I don't see a knockout happening. I no matter what the over price is, I love the over in this one. I just see them both just going. Greg Hardy, you couldn't knock him out with a crowbar, let alone a fist with a glove on it, in my opinion. So, that's kind of my take. I am going to go ahead and splash this one in for Greg Hardy as well. So we are going to be on the same side on this one, so I can appreciate that. But it also has the makings. This might be one where you go make your next drink while it's playing, because I don't see it being very entertaining. I see Greg Hardy just kind of laying on him, controlling the fight, landing more output. Obviously, I haven't seen quite a bit of it. I've seen absolutely no power on Greg Hardy. Yeah. But it's constant output and octagon control, where it's almost like the judges can't not give him. Like even a Florida judge couldn't, in some of these fights could just say, well, what am I scoring with this guy?
Right.
And he just has that much control, which sucks because it's boring to watch. I'm surprised they give him, the marquees as much as they do. Again, that's probably his NFL background, which has to be fading at this point. It could be a make or break for him too, though. I think that the UFC wants to see something out of Greg Hardy. You lost your last one. I don't know that they're going to just let him ride the NFL coattails into the next fight. This would be 2 in a row for him, and you're not a very entertaining fighter to begin with. So we'll see what happens with it.
I want Tai Tuivasa to lose just so I don't have to see him drink a beer out of the shoe. Now. They'll give him the beer, they'll give him the shoe.
He was trying to do it in go.
Yeah, he's a maniac. There's something wrong with those guys over there.
I mean, if you can do that, there's not a lot you can't do. I will give you that. But, again, the beer in the shoe, maybe you want to see him win just to see if he takes someone's shoe out of the crowd and drinks it. But he might even do that in a loss. I mean, this guy might just live that way. I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
Now, moving on down the line. Now, this is interesting. Gilbert Burns and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Now, this is the fight I flip-flopped on the most of the whole card.
I really have too.
Okay.
You think, at first glance, if you're just scratching the surface of this puppy, you think Burns all the way. How could Burns lose? I mean, he's got the jiu-jitsu. I think he's probably overall the more well-rounded fighter. Can't talk. The karate style really only suits, like you were saying pre-show, it only really suits someone like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But I just don't know, man. The thing that the problem I have is that Usman fight. I mean, I feel like sometimes you see this, and those watching know exactly what I'm talking about. People get their soul sucked out of them. They take a knockout that is so hard, it 100% sticks with them in the next fight. And you almost can just tell, you almost get that sense like he just doesn't have it.
No, I'm a big proponent of getting your soul sucked out of you. I'm sure you've done it before with that move. But, getting hammered with a piston jab and losing consciousness, that can take your soul out of you.
Yeah. And I was someone I was a big, I was actually, I'll just full disclosure, moment of vulnerability. I loved the price you were getting for Burns versus Usman, and I went with, not to make this about Burns and Usman,
right?
But I think it is relevant to what could potentially happen. That is my one issue, and as I'm talking this through, I think you got to go with Wonderboy on this one. I really do. I think that I follow I followed him a great deal. I think that he's training really hard for this, as he should be. It's like always an interesting comment, like training hard. Well, they're in the fucking UFC, they should be.
Yeah, they're training.
But let's be real. You can tell when people are just in there cashing checks on their name right before they hit Bellator Row, right, and those that are not. And I just don't. I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson still has a lot of gas left in the tank.
He's making a new run. He's not just some guy that's fighting into his late 30s. He's actually making a run. Now, see, I think my journey on this fight was a little the opposite of yours. I came in, thinking that Wonderboy, sharp striker, looking good coming into this fight. He's got a lot of wins behind him, made me some money coming up into this fight. Then I started thinking, Burns, he brings in a karate point guy, one of the best that there is. He's training with him every day. If you had to just think about in MMA, are you going to take the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu star or the karate guy? That's where my mind kind of broke. I was like, I'm never taking the karate guy. Has it ever worked in the past? I don't think so. I mean, Wonderboy is the exception when it comes to karate. But when Burns is making the adjustments to get used to the karate style, and he's got the jiu-jitsu, which is basically the main skill that you need in MMA. I got to go with Burns here. And you're getting underdog money with him?
So there's two things. There's two things that I went to that point. And I love the he's bringing the karate guys into the gym, but that is a double-edged sword if you think about it. Is he going to focus too much on karate? Because karate is an offensive game in my opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean? And is he going to focus too much on the karate and fight the style of fight that Wonderboy would want to fight? The second thing, probably most importantly, Burns was just fighting Usman. And then he comes and fights an older fighter, one that you could maybe argue is on the way out, maybe a step away from Bellator Row, although I don't think so. You could make that argument.
Right.
And you're getting at this point, you're getting plus 130 on Burns. Does Vegas know something? Vegas is almost fucking scaring me with that.
Yeah.
They're asking you to bet with Burns, which is why I don't want to do it.
Okay. I mean,
it's just
if you
interesting.
like to do those mind games, Vegas is the best at the mind games.
It is interesting. And I still don't know. I guess if I had to do a lean, I'll give you a lean. I'm going to lean Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You know what? Fuck it. It's a main event. First time fans are going to be in Vegas in a very long time. Splash me on Wonderboy Thompson on this one. Splash you on Burns.
I'm going to take Burns.
I guess we're just going to go on the opposite. But again, and this is against everything that I can think about logically. I think, it does appear that he's training hard for this in Burns. It does appear that he has more paths to victory. If it goes to the ground, you think the easiest path to victory is, he takes him down, gets the choke out. And people are saying, but the one thing I will argue this, people are saying, well, Wonderboy hasn't fought that many wrestlers. But I'm telling you right now, when he hasn't been taken down that much in his career either. So it's not like his takedown defense has just been non-existent, unlike Carlos Condit. Where Carlos Condit gets taken down by anybody and anything and at all times, which also worries me about it, not to make it about Carlos stuff. So I'm not even on that train. But in either way, when you talk about the line, maybe that he's going to focus too much on the game that Stephen Wonderboy wants to play, and I just think that Wonderboy is doing. I think he's doing a lot better warm up as we get closer to the fight. So I'm going to go with Wonderboy. You're going to go with Burns. Take your pick your poison. I don't think that there's really a wrong way to do this one.
It's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah.
That one's going to be a fun fight.
It is going to be a fun fight. I think it's going to be an exciting one and a good one. Now.